Sorry, yes. Hope my screen is still visible. Yeah. So, it was done in the partnership with the CII, and it was held in December of 2020. And everybody, all the panelists, all the people and ministry who is responsible for the modern energy cooking, they were present, and they are talking about promotion of this sector. Uh, and other activities which we are doing is and we are also present today, we are doing the talk series on promotion of modern energy in cooking. We have planned for 12 module. Today is the third module which we are doing. And as the program is progressing well in India, I'm happy to share that one of the Indian startup company, UFLA, is won the Global Leap Awards. As we know, Global Leap Award is the global competition identifying the best energy efficient devices. This company got one of the category which is energy efficient device. I request other delegates to kindly switch off your mute yourself while not speaking. And we have also we are also doing the mini lab level cooking survey. We are trying to understand what is the cost of cooking on electric devices, what are the devices can be feasible, and what is the elaborate Indian cooking needs. And we did the primarily with the electric cooking appliances. EPC is the device which we are talking about. We are going to talk in details. And we also compared with the induction and comparing with the LPG with the limited capacity. We have actually we are thinking to organize to run this test on 20 staple and popular dishes. Uh, yeah. And we have also given our inputs to the Ministry of Power for capturing electric cooking in the National Electric Policy 2021, which was missing. Though the government is talking about the go electric, and go electric is promoting electric vehicle and the clean cooking. As we know, the in energy and clean cooking scenario in India, India is not the new into the clean cooking sector. We have tried well, but some of the challenges still persist. So India, additional data is that around 67% are still relying on the traditional biomass, and 4% greenhouse gases coming from the sector. In India, we have taken a very giant step, provided 8 crores connection, 80 million connection to BPL families, one-time setup cost. And of course, the challenges persist that people are not refilling the cylinder because of the whatever the reason. The cost of refilling is high and all. And now it's the shifting the focus to the electric cooking. So electricity is available. It's a cost effective and zero emission at the time of consumption. And as we know, the India become an energy surplus nation in September 2020. So it has to move to the electric. And among the developed nations already adapted that, India is an outlier in this sector. And as we know, the government is trying to do a lot of initiatives. So Minister of Power is talking about the national mission of e-cooking, which is electric cooking. Clean cooking mission is talking about this. PSA is talking about the solar PV cooking, etc. This is the very important point. So this data was this study was jointly done with the CRISIL and the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. They found that the family who have a monthly income of 5,000, 74% of the household is ready to pay 391 rupees per month toward the cooking fuel. And the family who have a monthly income of 2,500 rupees, the 59% of ready to pay some amount for the cooking. This study was conducted in 2016. Uh, yeah. Energy projections. I will not take too much time, but this slide is very important. At the cooking with electricity, a cost perspective. This is the World Bank, the same World Bank SMAP study, which talks about when we talk about the cooking or clean cooking. We realize that the one single solution may not work, and this study is basically focused on the what is the upfront cost, or what is the overtime cost and all, and what are the best devices. This study we did in 5 different regions, and the mixed kind of fuel and devices are actually talking about. Uh, this is the very interesting data which says that the cost of modern energy based cooking, which is electric and the solar based cooking, is going to be cost lower regularly, and the biomass and firewood and the coal, though we not cook in the coal in India, is cost is going to up at a certain point. It is going to merge also, so it is a good time to shift toward the electric cooking. And on the cost assessments also, this electric cooking comes to the right hand side. This is the important data. The total installed capacity now it's 383 gigawatts, and peak load actually is improving. It's now 202 as per the latest data. And Government of India has also committed that electricity is also going to come from the non-fossil fuel based. We have taken a target of 2030. So electricity is also again the not fully dirty fuel. This is the important parameter. We always think that electricity cooking has a many problem, but we have actually mapped on the 6 parameter. It is affordable, of course, with the right devices. It is available. Of course, the challenge there in certain part, but it's a very convenient. It's a very safe device. It's emission free and it's efficient. So electric cooking always fall under the right category. And the latest development is actually going on, and the current device range is solar devices. We have a multiple types of devices, and this is the new electric cooking devices. Which is EPC is one of the popular device. This is the EPC device which makes program feel that it is a best efficient device. It has the pressure cooker. It has the electric hot plate installation and automatic controller. And this is the key finding, and timing up. So I will be. I will be stopping my presentation here. Sorry for the delay and patient listening. I'll happy to take any questions after the panel discussion. Yes. With this, I like to invite Ms. Reena Suri to moderate the session. Yes, Ms. Reena.
Thank you so much, Vimal. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
So I'd like to start by thanking Finovista for giving me this opportunity to moderate this esteemed panel, which is organized as part of the MEC's third talk session on this important topic, transitioning to modern energy in cooking, and particularly discussing the opportunities that are there in this transition for the DISCOMs in electric cooking. So, as we all know, India having surplus electricity generation capacity, and by electrifying almost all the households in the country, is definitely heading towards an electric future. And electricity is supposed to be the cleanest fuel at the user end, and is increasingly, largest share of it being produced from the renewable sources being added to the grid. However, like we feel that one of the very important areas that require electrification is cooking, which we've been talking about, but it has a lot of challenges that need to be met for a successful transition into a modern energy cooking. So globally, around 3 billion people still cook using, firewood, charcoal, biomass, etc., kerosene, and which creates, in-house, huge in-house air pollution. And globally, about 4 million people die prematurely each year from diseases that are caused by this kind of pollution. And India, unfortunately, tops the list with 800 million people continuing to use these unclean fuel for cooking. So while 76% of the urban households in India have access to liquefied petroleum gas (LPG), and 63% of the rural households are still using the firewood or biomass for cooking. But our government of India has been continuously working towards with bringing some new programs to provide urban and rural households with access to clean cooking energy and to electrify almost all households in the country. With its scheme, Pradhan Mantri Ujala Yojana, which was launched in 2016, it provided credit-linked subsidized LPG connections to millions of households in 2019, and making the total LPG connections to close to 150 million households. Thus, we understand that India is moving towards the gas-based economy with the target of to meet 15% of its primary energy demands through natural gas by 2020. With the piped natural gas connections are expected to play an important component of this plan. And the city gas distribution licenses have been issued to towns in 228 districts of in the country, and PNG networks are being laid at very fast track. So as of 2019, there were about 5.4 million domestic customers of PNG, which was scheduled to reach 10 million by 2020, but due to lockdown, it was slowed down. But in 2021, Government of India has allocated a huge has still allocated a huge budget towards subsidies of LPG and kerosene, which is again a big hindrance in the overall economy of the country. So with every household already connected to the grid, it makes immense sense, economic sense, to promote the electric cooking, which is the preferred mode of cooking in many developed countries. Wide variety of cooking appliances are already available at affordable prices, and most of us are using in the urban areas, using some or the other electric appliance. And electric cooking is not only cost effective, it's safer, more energy efficient, and it requires less maintenance than the conventional cooking methods. And the most important benefit we have seen is it's free of emissions. And we've seen that Bureau of Energy Efficiency under the aegis of Ministry of Power, Government of India launched a Go Electric campaign in February 2021 to spread the awareness on the benefits of e-mobility and electric cooking in India. With the Go Electric campaign, it's one of the very important initiative which government has taken, and that would help in reducing the import dependence of our country in the coming years, and would be an important step towards a cleaner and greener future. Though we have multiple challenges to face, but still we see that the future, say by 2030, we'll see a huge transition from to this kind of efficient cooking. So ISGF, just give a brief about ISGF. ISGF is a public-private partnership initiative of Government of India, and with the mandate to accelerate smart grid deployments across the country. It's a member-based organization comprising of ministries, utilities, technology providers, academia, research institutions, and we have partnered with multiple international organizations to bring expertise and new technology knowledge to India. And one of the mandates that is to accelerate energy transition through clean energy, electric grid modernization, electromobility, and we work with national and international organizations in having right standards for the right adoption of the technology, and also help the utilities and regulators and the industry in the technology selection, training, and building the capacity. with that mandate, we've also been working towards having supporting the transition from into the modern energy cooking, and working towards having the appropriate policies, identifying the barriers in moving the electric cooking. We've been working on educating the electric utilities to actively promote electric cooking, and having discussions through different forums to have the right strategies for promotion of electric cooking campaigns. Consumer awareness is a key component for the adoption of electric cooking, and about the appliances and practices that are prevailing in different parts of the world, and bringing it here. And lastly, we've also been discussing and leveraging, talking about the renewable energy, that is the clean source of energy that will be used in the electric cooking, and integrating the cooking appliances with the grid, and smart cooking with green electricity, which is bought from the cheapest and cleanest resource on the grid. We have done, we've been working with the promotion of these on these domains, with bringing out white papers which on electric cooking, which we had published in November 2020, and we have conducted multiple roundtables to brainstorm on the electric cooking and the way forward for larger adoption. So with this background, I would like to now, welcome again all our panelists, and would like to highlight the objective of the panel, and what we want to achieve from today's discussion is to collate all the recommendations that we can put forward, and the way forward for promoting of electric cooking in India and other developing countries, and to discuss and understand the opportunities that can be generated for the electric utilities with increased use of electricity for, from cooking, and so, some benefits could be the additional revenue that can be generated for the utilities with the increased demand, and how maybe the electric appliances can help support the balancing of the load on the grid. So with that, I would like to start today's discussion, and warm welcome to all the panelists. I would like to request Dr. Nick Rosu, and hello again, and very nice to be on the same stage with you today. So would like to request you to please share from the next program that you've been working on different with the research program that you are doing. So how are your research findings, and what do they suggest that might engage with some of the challenges that are there in the promotion and adoption of electric cooking, and how we can showcase the benefits of the promotion of the electric cooking to the Indian utility, or the utilities to take this up and help support the promotion at a larger scale.
Thank you.
Over to you, Dr. Nick.
Thank you very much. And I'm very pleased to speak at this. Thanks to Vimal for organising it. I think it's a great thing to bring together the utilities in different countries that are facing similar challenges and are going forward, hopefully together, to find solutions to these through supporting electric cooking. I'm going to focus on work that's been going on in Kenya that I think is going to be interesting. But our colleague Peter will talk about Uganda, which is, I think, at an earlier stage. I'll share my screen, if that's okay. Let's do it too. Right, can you see my slide? Is that visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Thank you. Okay, so the message really is that utility companies that we're working with are seeing the need to work in partnership with other organizations to address the opportunities of electric cooking. Their core business is to provide electricity, and their expertise is to provide connections, to roll out the grid, to deliver electricity reliably and conveniently. And they often don't have that knowledge and understanding of the wider electric usage context, and that's where the MEX program is able to help to facilitate partnerships that can address that. So certain similarities, just very quickly, between Kenya and India. So the Kenya Light and Power Company has 6 million customers, but very few of those use electricity as their cooking fuel. And as with India, there's a lot of underutilized capacity and therefore potential for more revenue to be generated that will cover the costs that have been incurred in investing in developing the electricity infrastructure. And they're keen both to increase demand of their connected customers, but also to increase the number of connections. And again, a little bit like India, the history of cooking in Kenya has been largely dominated through the use of charcoal and kerosene. And electricity in the past has not been widely available, so it's not really been promoted as a cooking fuel. But that has been changing in recent years. Again, like in India, there's been massive growth in the use of LPG as a cooking fuel, but also the government has been introducing taxation to reduce the deforestation that's going on, and therefore creating a much higher price of charcoal. And they're also taxing kerosene for various reasons. So the cost and the economics are very much shifting. And the cost perspective report that Vimal referred to illustrated how these economic drivers can have a huge impact on the benefits for the average household. And despite all that, the situation with wealthier households is they still do use cooking devices, but quite specific ones like kettles and microwaves, but they do the bulk of their cooking on LPG. Interestingly, some of that is because they have servants that work for them in their kitchen, and they don't trust them with electric devices. They think that LPG and simpler devices are more reliable. So the team at KPLC were set the challenge of increasing demand for electricity. And this started 2 or 3 years ago now with a program called Pika na Power, which is cooking with electricity. And they had a program on national TV using social media. They had celebrities, and everyone was there showing how dishes that Kenyans are familiar with can be cooked with electricity. It doesn't need to be on an open fire to get the flavors that you're looking for. But they focused at the time on induction and infrared stoves. Those were the devices that were most readily available. They give you good control over heat levels, and they can fry things very well, which fitted well with a lot of Kenyan cuisine. But they are still very inefficient. So there was a lot of energy that was being lost because of the heat dispersing from the devices and from the dishes. And that meant that a lot of the longer, more energy intensive dishes that were cooked in Kenya, people were still preferring to use charcoal for that because that was still felt to be cheaper. And there's still this idea that electricity is an expensive luxury cooking fuel. However, what we're now encouraging people to be aware of through the MEX program is the existence of much more energy efficient appliances, such as electric pressure cookers that Vimal's referred to. And we've done a lot of research, particularly in East Africa, to understand the cooking culture there and to see how different devices work with that cooking culture, and in particular, the cost implications of that for the household. But currently, electric pressure cookers are not widely known. They're hard to get hold of. And certainly 2 or 3 years ago, there were not many shops that were selling them. And I remember one online retailer telling me that they did try to introduce an EPC and there wasn't much demand for it. People just didn't know about it. So what has happened is that the MEX program funded Jikoni Magic, which is a well-established food blogger in Kenya. She has an Instagram account and Facebook, and she's always putting out recipes and things that she likes. And we provided some funding for her to start to promote the use of electric pressure cookers on social media. And alongside that, we were carrying out our own research into cooking practices and the energy consumption. And this again is being repeated now in India through the work that Vimal was referring to, which has enabled us to then create this ECook Book, which you can see on the right, which was populated with recipes from Kenyan housewives. And we provide a cost comparison for the same dish using their recipes for the different cooking fuels. And so that bar chart shows that an EPC is hugely cheaper to cook with than the conventional options that they have at the time. So using very simple means of communicating these kind of changes is something that we feel is important. At the same time as that, Hot Point Appliances, which is one of the major importers of electric domestic appliances, introduced its own branded EPC in Nairobi, and that formed the basis for a very strong collaboration with Jikoni Magic, where they could promote the EPC being available in many of these outlets, and people were able to get them and see the benefits of them. So that's gone really well, and that's something which is growing and continues to grow. And we've also got partners in rural areas that are working with women's groups to help them to understand the benefit of electric pressure cookers. And many of them don't have connections at the moment, but are now asking to have connections set up so that they can benefit from these. And so what we're also seeing now through the partnership with the Kenya Light and Power Company and Jikoni Magic is these cooking demonstration classes being run, which are based on the ECook Book resources, and that use dishes that, again, the Kenyan housewives will be familiar with. And Agnes demonstrates the cooking. She has a little energy meter, which is automatically programmed to the current tariff. And so she can describe very accurately and in real time how much money is being spent at the different stages of the recipe cooking. And then the guests can come down and taste the dishes and see that they are really very good. And what you're immediately doing is convincing people in a very immediate way of the benefits of cooking with electric pressure cookers. And that's proving very powerful. So what we're now doing is building a collaboration with the KPLC to harness this awareness raising, to build capacity in their outlets to talk about these devices, to help to make them available, and continuing to look at ways of stimulating demand across the country. And we're actually looking at Kenya now at the level of the county and individual county energy officers promoting electric pressure cookers and electric cooking, and also working to access finance to provide subsidies and to support the kind of phased payment of the devices themselves, which I think is a big challenge, I think, that everyone faces. Who will provide the upfront capital cost so that the benefits that are going to come from cooking with electricity don't get lost because of the initial asset price. So that's where we are. We're still on a journey. It's still developing. KPLC, I think, like a lot of other utilities, does have limits on its financial resources, but I think it's absolutely committed now to finding a way of enabling more people to cook with electricity as we go forward. I will stop there.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nick, for giving us a brief about the work you're doing in Kenya and supporting the initiatives there. And of course, one of the key elements that you have brought forward is talking on the financing aspects, which also need to be looked upon while we are working towards advocating the policy and preparing the promotional plans and bringing awareness. But we have to look at the financial aspects as well. So thank you. I'll come back to you with more questions while I move on to our next panelist today, Mr. Rajan Vashne. And Mr. Vashne, would like to know from a generation company's perspective, you've been doing an excellent work in ensuring we have enough supply available. And with the new plant that you have put together, a 3,800 megawatt project which is under construction in Bihar, we understand that we will have enough electricity available. But from your perspective, what do you see that are the main challenges that we are currently facing with this to bring this massive shift of cooking practices in India in terms of generation, availability of electricity in some areas of particularly rural areas, and with the how you can support further this transition from a generation company's point of view?
Yeah, thank you, Fnolsta, for organizing this conference, and thank you everybody for attending this and giving this time. I would like to say that as generating company, our role is to provide reliable power in sufficient quantity and to the extent it is required, rather more than that, so that any exigencies and extra demands, sudden demands can also be met. So we are trying to do that. And once happens or it is really happening right now, everyone, every village, every household is getting connected with the electricity. Now is the right time to give a push towards electric cooking, because now everybody can be connected to the grid, or they can have microgrids in those areas which are remotely located, like Ladakh. It has very sparse population, long distance between the villages. But these can be supported through microgrid, and they can be having some connection, like we call connected microgrid, so that only the whatever resultant is required power that is transmitted across this, and that gets balanced in the local areas. So it is the right time that we should start giving the push, and like Nick also showed, in Kenya, a lot of campaigning is being done promoting the electric cooking. Similarly, in India, these programs, we are at the right stage now that such programs should be launched. And I would say even health melas and all, they should promote the nutrition value preservation of the cooking. And as an energy company, I have a perspective that whatever most efficient energy can be, the way the energy can be consumed in a more efficient manner. Because we also know producing energy is a pain, because it has pollution in it again. So we are shifting towards renewable, and we have committed by 2032, we will have 50% renewable generation in our portfolio, which is quite okay. If we see across the world, it is even much less than this. So if the benefits like health, which rural households, their children, housewives will be having, those benefits, if it is promoted in an integrated manner, that they will save on health costs, life expectancy will increase, PM 2.5, which causes so much premature deaths. More than 6 lakh people died in India last year, or maybe 1 or 2 years ago. That data is there due to these high PM 2.5 levels inside the houses. Outside the house, it is say 100, but inside the house, it is 300, 500, which can be attributed to the cooking on firewood or coal or kerosene or other methods. Then second point is government expenses or even public money should be directed towards utilizing in a more efficient manner, towards more efficient use of energy, whatever it is. But if it is electricity, it is clean, because we have committed certain NDCCs in the COP26, and this is now coming up in November also. So if we can reduce pollution from million of houses, and it is daily 3-4 times being generated, and lot of ash and other things. So this can help us in meeting the goals, our commitments also very fast, and health expenses will reduce. Moreover, Reena ji touched that point of CGD expansion and pipelines expansion. At least 40,000 crore is being spent on spending those, laying those pipelines and making arrangements for pumping and all. All this is can be done in a balanced manner. Some part can be allocated towards promotion of appliances, and these appliances may be given to the poor people at say 10%, 20% cost, and 80% can be subsidy. So if these things are given, they will definitely use it, and support should be there for maintenance and all, so that they know that even if they have spent something, they are sure that it will be utilized for many years to come. And now, since electricity is more or less available and can be made available as soon as the demand is there, so these things can be promoted in a good manner. And now recently we have launched e-rupee. It is like a payment system in which government or anybody can give purpose specific and person specific payment. So such instruments can be used for giving subsidy for these appliances. If the person buys that, he will be able to utilize that much amount, and there cannot be any misuse of it. So I think all these measures are there. Now the base is there. Only thing is push through campaigning and government programs and related financing that can be done through stakeholders, like even the companies can also initially put their money in uh, pilot projects or something, so that once people realize the benefits, more people will come for it, and this will be widely prevalent then. So this is what I wanted to put. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rajan. And you've rightly pointed out that we know the benefits. They're very clearly laid out. But how to make this transition possible, to where to find the budgets and financing, and what should be the right way forward, that needs to be planned out. And we very well understand that this is going to bring overall benefit to the society, and we have budgets allocated for other schemes which can be utilized to start with, for a small pilot, and see the actual benefits that are being reaped, and then further rollout, plan bigger rollouts going forward. And also you mentioned about the new initiatives that NTPC has undertaken, which will also further strengthen and support this transition. So thank you so much for that. And with that, we'll move on to our next panelist from Uganda. And let's hear the utility perspective from Mr. Peter Wisiga. Would like to know, Mr. Peter, that what are the initiatives that you've undertaken in UME in electric cooking, and what were the key benefits that you have come across, and what were the challenges that were faced while implementing and making these initiatives possible? Over to you.
Thank you, Suri. Peter Mwesiga here from Umeme, Uganda. Umeme is the dominant or the leading electricity distributor in Uganda, distributing to over 95% of the customers who have an electricity connection in the country. And as Nick has shared, we have a lot that is similar between Uganda and Kenya at this stage. And the benefits of e-cooking are clear for all of us to see. We are still in the early stages of implementing strategies that will allow us to move into the clean cooking space. As we speak, over 85% of Ugandans still rely on biomass for cooking. And part of that has been a result of a few factors, including the lack of availability of connections to the communities, the lack of awareness on the availability and the benefits of e-cooking, long-held perspectives on the cost or the cost implications of cooking with electricity, as well as reliability issues. What e-cooking brings to the table benefits not just the homes, but the utility as well as the mini grid players. At this point in time, we are at a point of convergence. We have over 40% of the electricity we generate not being distributed, as we've seen in Kenya. And the domestic consumption is, per capita is dropping as we connect more customers. Now, that has implications for both the utility as well as the mini group players in as far as our project feasibility is concerned. Now, on the grid, as consumption drops for domestic customers, and as we set up more infrastructure to generate and prepare for the long term, we have to look at strategies that allow consumption to be stimulated for the domestic customers, but as well as the industrial customers. So as the government is working on industrial parks that will stimulate industrial consumption, on the domestic end, we have to look at the demand side of electricity. And electric cooking is one of those areas that we are looking at. As we speak, UMEME has been implementing an integrated energy project with a few partners, including solar mini grid players and appliance financiers, to pilot and see what is the impact of appliance financing on new energy access areas. And part of that pilot has included electric cooking. We are still in the early stages, and part of the interest in eCooking came from the study that Max did with Quick. Quick is a research firm at Makerere University looking at modern electricity and efficiency services, which revealed to us that it's even at the prevailing electricity tariffs, it's already cheaper to cook with electricity than it is to cook with traditional fuels like biomass. Now, cooking with biomass is already giving us several challenges. The forests are disappearing. Between 2010 and 2020, the forest cover in Uganda reduced from 24% to 10%, sorry, to 8% of the total land use in the country. That's big. As we speak, the charcoal prices, charcoal being the most used fuel in the city, in the towns, has been moving up to about 14%. Between 2008 and 2002 and 2008, the average price increases on charcoal were about 14%. So that puts a pressure on the families. It puts a pressure on the homes. It puts a pressure on the forests. As we speak, using biomass for cooking is already affecting the climate changes, and that is already deteriorating the food baskets for the people. So even the people who do not have access to electricity are affected by cooking with the biomass as the forests disappear, as the environment deteriorates. So what eCooking brings to the table is a support structure for decentralized systems like mini grids, so that you have affordable and aggressive business models that act as anchors for mini grid projects. By doing that, then you increase project feasibility. Now, on the utility, eCooking allows energy stimulation, allows domestic stimulation. Now, by allowing stimulation of consumption, you then allow the revenue requirements within the sector to be improved. And by increasing the revenues within the sector, you improve the sustainability of the sector. You allow tariffs of electricity to go down by increasing sales from electricity. So at this point in time, we are looking at eCooking as one of those approaches that is going to benefit the whole sector, not just the utility, but as well as the several mini grids that are being set up in the different parts of the country. From the government perspective, the National Electricity Regulatory Authority is already looking at a program that migrates most of the customers from using charcoal to using e-cooking, given that we already have an access. And we anticipate that by the end of 2022, we should have a new dam that will be commissioned, adding to the extra access that we already have in the country. The ministry, as well, is already looking at approaches that move consumers from using biomass to using e-cooking. What are the challenges that we're seeing as we are piloting? One of them, like you've noted, is the reliability. The need to do due diligence in areas where we are supplying appliances. Then, of course, the availability, you still have areas where the grid is yet to reach. Then the maintenance of these appliances. Once the customers have bought the appliances, where do they maintain them from once they get challenges with these appliances? And of course, the limited awareness on the availability and presence of these appliances. So we have a lot to learn from what is happening in India, as you've stated, and what is happening in Kenya, as well as the other countries that are trying to find approaches that improve the distribution and use of e-cooking, as well as trying to understand the actual benefits of this approach. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peter, for providing the key overview and highlights of the benefits of e-cooking, including how we can have a pilot with having affordable appliances and having the right business model in place, and also with the increased use of electric appliances, increase in electricity can also benefit the overall consumers by the demand going up and the tariffs going down. So that is also one of the benefit and business model we can look at. And definitely with the piloting it in a smaller place, the benefits can be showcased to a larger group that you've highlighted. So thank you so much. And there's a lot that we will be taking back from the points that you have shared, the overview that you have shared with us today. So thank you. And I don't know if we have time for some more questions, Vimal, going forward, or I can pass it on to you for, we have time for going back to the panelists with one or two more questions.
So why not? You are taking the lead with the request that the delegates please ask the questions to the panelists.
So would any delegate like to ask any question from the panelists? Please unmute and you can ask the question, and taking the name. So Dr. Nick has posted a question for the DISCOMs. So maybe we can take it up with Mr. Peter, that how do they promote e-cooking for their employees to start with? How do you suggest that, with the promotion of e-cooking with your employees, how do we start this initiative?
For now, what we did was to partner with an appliance financing firm and identify one project site where e-cooking has been piloted in the pilot we're working on. And we allowed then the initial participants to be from that project site. The next phase of what we are looking at is how do we expand that, of course, to employees, given that they interact with electricity consumers every day. That will be the next part. But in the pilot, we ring-fenced the activity to the pilot site so that we could pick learnings from that from the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peter. I think Ms. Mahua is here. Hi, how are you? We can't hear you. You're muted.
Right. Now you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And please go ahead with your question.
Yes. My question is also for Mr. Peter Mwesiga of Umeme. And I would like to ask you, in India, the electrification strategy was done where rural households had a very low connected, number of kilowatts of connected load was very low. And the idea is that because this was a sort of blanketing everybody, giving everybody an electric connection, but recognizing that they didn't have appliances. So I wanted to ask you, in terms of Umeme's strategy, when you give a connection, I'm presuming that the minimum connection you give is much bigger than the basic one of India. So you never have to increase it in order, if somebody says, I want to use appliances for electric cooking, they are all set. I presume you give a minimum of 3 kilowatt or something per connection. Could you address that? And then this is just something that I don't know. One does not require a 3-phase for a cooker, right? A 3-phase connection. I presume you need it if you're using motorized appliances like a blender or something like that. But without a motor, like an electric pressure cooker, you do not need a 3-phase. You can have a single phase. So both the size of the connection as well as the quality or just the type of person, I think there's a big difference between the Umeme strategy and an Indian state government DISCOM. So if you could, I'm not sure if my question was clear, Mr. Peter. Did you follow my question?
I will try to answer as best as I can. One, the EPC that the first set of EPCs that we've seen are about 1,000 watts. So those can work on a domestic connection. They don't need 3-phase connections. And for most homes or for most premises in Uganda, they are connected. They are connected on a single phase, not 3-phase. The connection is adequate to cover that consumption. Then for access, Uganda is still on a journey of extending connections into the rural areas. That is an activity that still requires a lot of work, and as such, we still have very many villages that are not connected. Now, some of the mini goods, for example, are connecting these customers with a ready board, which has limitations on the wattage and the consumption that it can carry. However, for the utility, at this point in time, we've not connected customers with the ready board. It's something we are looking into, given the costs of internal wiring. So most of the customers are already connected with proper wiring that should support an EPC to work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, the Indian one is closer to the ready board approach of South Africa, which is to give a basic minimal connection that can do 2 lights and a phone charger or something like that. So that's like a ready board equivalent. But and as you confirmed, those cannot support an electric pressure cooker, right? They cannot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Most of them can't. And for a start, for example, we are preferring them for the rural areas after having a few challenges in cities, in Kampala, to be specific with the ready board.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Peter.
Thank you, Mahua, and thank you, Mr. Peter. Do we have any more questions from the delegates? No, I think that's all for.
Could I ask Mr. Rajan, is NTPC offering electric cooking to its employees? I had heard there was a program to do that, because that could stimulate the market.
We were offered air fryers, not electric cooker, but air fryers.
Okay.
So
How's
everyone
that?
has it.
That's for general health, to reduce calories.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Not
Moreover, we are already having electric hot plates, heaters, and microwaves. So,
Okay.
but electric pressure cooker as such is not there with many of us.
Is it, Reena, you would know this. Is it manufactured in India or is it imported? The Prestige person who was talking about electric pressure cookers in a previous event you held, was it, do you know, are they made in India? The components?
I'm not. I'm not really sure. Maybe Vimal would have a more a better answer there with his research.
So yeah, so right now in India we have over 22 brands are operating, national and MNCs. The size of market is very low, so it is not coming in the economy of a scale. So unfortunately, mostly imported in India and rebranded as a the particular brand company. However, some of the companies are actually looking into the manufacturing, considering that the China ban, which we are not directly allowing the imports of the entire product, but on the component level. So the trend is reversing now. The one of the startup which we supported through the Global Leap Award, they are talking about 40 to 60% Indianization in the devices. So definitely this started happening.
Actually, for India, the import part should also be highlighted while campaigning. That gas is kerosene, most of the part is imported only. And electricity is available here itself. Solar electricity through sun or wind electricity is there. So we can cut on our imports also. And second point is safety aspect of the electric appliances should also be highlighted. Because in fire, direct fire, there is always hazard. And in electric cooking, these are very safe devices world over. So these things should be protected, I feel.
Totally agree here. So with that, I think we come to the close of this discussion. Thank you so much again to all the panelists for your insights and your perspective on the way forward for making this transition happen. We understand that it is not possible without the right policies and programs by the government to support this promotion and transition, and maybe reallocate some of the LPG subsidies or to fund the capex of strengthening of the grid also in these semi-urban and rural areas. We see that with the new scheme of the government, the minimum load that will be provided will be enhanced for all the customers, and as we understand that for electric appliances usage we need at least 3 kilowatt or 5 kilowatt loads for the consumers, and we are no more in an era of scarcity, and rather we have surplus of electricity generation capacity. The medium voltage and the low voltage network needs to be strengthened. Can easily be strengthened to have a minimum of 3 to 5 load for all the households, and that will help people to move the electric cooking, as well as give them access to cooling. And as the summer temperatures in India keep going up every year, it would be very difficult for people to live without access to cooling, and also be able to cook in the summer heat in the kitchen with the regular fuel and the regular appliances. So not only it brings the efficiency into the system and brings clean options for cooking, it also helps a very comfortable way of cooking for the consumers. So with that, thank you so much once again, and over to you, Vimal.
Thank you, Ms. Rina, and thank you, panelists, for giving us very insightful discussion, and we learned a lot from that. Considering the DISCOMs challenges, DISCOMs opportunity, the user challenges, the government challenges, the infrastructure challenges, and the best part is that yes, hopefully we are heading toward the right direction to transition to the electric cooking or the solar cooking, the modern energy based cooking, where these devices are efficient, safe, convenient, easily available. The power sources are available, and rightly this to the electric cooking, it's possible to rely on the recent Government of India initiative of the Nirmal Bharat. So it is the electricity is generated from within the India only. So it is again a big push. And some of the panelists also highlighted the subsidy of the other area can be actually diverted. So so this is the very insightful input we got. And as I mentioned in the beginning, that this is the talk series, is kind of a brainstorming session, which we are picking the different area for the next topic and trying to understand the prospect. And we will be bringing some more interesting discussions on the DRE and on the financing side, especially the carbon financing, as the next 1 or 2 sessions will be focusing on this area. So thank you all, and thank you for joining.
Thank you so much. Have a good day and wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.